In case you missed it, here's Dave and Cheryl's favorite moments of the week.
Here we are, January the 3rd today, 2022, a new year. And there are things to look forward to in 2022. I know there's some uncertainty in the province right now. We don't know if there's going to be more restrictions. We don't know what's going on with schools just yet. But hopefully in 2022, less COVID.
Yeah. Newsweek posted a list of 22 exciting things to expect this year. One of the highlights is less COVID. They hope. I mean, we really don't know when the pandemic is actually going to end, but they think it could at least be better in 2022. And there's this new antiviral pill that could actually save a lot of lives as well.
5G going mainstream. All the big carriers are rolling it out all over the place. It won't just let people download full movies in seconds. It'll also allow AI to be a part of our daily lives. And people think that could be the next industrial revolution, really.
Also, the Winter Olympics are coming up from Beijing, and you won't have to wait long. They start February 4th and will run through February 20th.
Have they determined who's going to be playing hockey? Or is hockey still going to be a thing? Now that the NHL is pulled out.
They'll have to do hockey, and it'll just have to be,
I guess, guys,
like what they did in the last Olympics, right?
Europe and places like that, perhaps, right? Well, the first images from the new James Webb telescope that launched on Christmas Day, well, it should reach its final destination 1 million miles from Earth in about 3 weeks. We might not get the first pictures back until sometime this summer, though.
That's something to look forward to. Other things to look forward to in 2022, a lot of big movies, including sequels like the new Top Gun movie. That'll be out in May. Legally Blonde 3. Didn't realize they were doing a Legally Blonde 3. Excited about that. There's a new Thor movie coming out in July. Hocus Pocus 2 finally going to be coming out this fall. And there is a second Avatar movie. Might finally come out this winter. Haven't confirmed that yet.
Talking about it for years. And also the Queen's Platinum Jubilee in June. That's 70 years on the throne. She'll be the first British monarch to do it. Basically, they'll throw a big party where a bunch of soldiers and horses are there, of course, and a lot of the world will be watching.
Also, there's a rumor of some new gadgets coming out. Like Apple is apparently working on some new augmented reality product called Apple Glasses. They could be revealed later this year. And they're also working on a virtual reality headset, and that could hit stores this summer.
And if you're a sports fan, and this usually rallies a lot of people, right? If you're from, descent of a certain country, the World Cup is happening.
That kicks off November 21st, and for the first time ever, it's happening in the Middle East. Qatar is hosting it.
2 things to look forward to in 2022. Well, there's a lot of different ways that maybe you'll end up being taken out, but being eaten alive by otters probably isn't on your radar. A middle-aged guy in Singapore, his name's Graham, went out for a walk recently at their botanic gardens, as he'd been doing for months. But this time he saw something he'd never seen before.
He saw a family of about 20 otters, and they were off the path about 15 feet from it, but another jogger ran past them and they got spooked. And apparently they decided that Graham was the enemy, and they swarmed him. They pushed him to the ground and bit him 26 times in just 10 seconds.
Yeah, they even bit through his shoes and shorts, getting him in the backside. Fortunately, he was with a friend at the time, and he started screaming and waving his arms. The otters froze. He was able to get up and run away. Wow, how scary.
So he got treated, and apparently he's going to be okay, but he believes he'd be dead if his friend wasn't there to scare them off. Now, a representative for the park said that otter bites are rare, but you need to be vigilant around wildlife.
I mean, it's still wildlife, and when you get that many in a pack.
But I feel bad for this guy, because it's not like he even did anything. It's not like, you hear about dumb people running up to a bear to take a selfie. Like he just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Well, how about a camel being in the wrong place at the wrong time? When was the last time you thought about a camel walking through the streets of a neighborhood? Police in Kansas City earlier in December spent pretty much the entire day chasing an escaped camel that trotted across a golf course, ran down a highway, and even walked through a few neighborhoods.
Oh, man. The police department said officers and animal control personnel responded after the animal was spotted running loose. They posted about it on Facebook and noting eventually that they were able to capture the camel and reunite it with its owner.
And I know this is one that would send you running and screaming from the room. A snake in a Christmas tree.
Yeah, nope. Christmas is over. Burning the house to the ground. But that's what happened to this family in South Africa. This family found a venomous snake slithering in the branches of its Christmas tree. The owner of a reptile rescue service says he arrived to the home, find the snake still slithering in the branches. He used a pair of specialized tongs to capture it. He posted it all on YouTube as well.
But did he click them together twice before he used them? You got to make sure they work.
Got to make sure they work.
Always got to do that with tongs, whether it's for barbecues or, to save snakes that are inside of a tree. So he posted a short video later on showing the very poisonous snake being released into the wild. And he said the incident actually marked the first time ever that he'd been called to remove a snake from a Christmas tree. First time for everything, I guess.
So was the snake in the tree originally when they put it up, or did the snake just crawl in the house and decide the tree was a great spot to take up?
Well, as you look into a new year, 2022, here we are. A lot of people look at that as a way to examine what's going on in your life, maybe physically, financially, but you'll never believe what some people are doing when it comes to their finances. And when I heard this story, all I could think of is this.
Oh, my God. I am never going to financially recover from this.
Apparently, people are basing financial decisions on their horoscope.
Yeah, 1 in 5 Americans say that they've done that. They've actually looked at their horoscope before making a financial decision. Now, it depends which generation you're looking at, though. Less than 4% of baby boomers say they've done that. 30% of millennials have, though. Gen Zers said 24%, and Gen Xers came in at 18%. And when you looked at genders, apparently women much more likely to say they follow astrology in general.
So what are the decisions? Well, the top financial decisions we make based on our horoscope include deciding to save money.
Well, that's a good thing.
Splurging on something we want.
Maybe not so much.
Buying and selling stocks. Changing jobs and negotiating our salary.
No, negotiating, changing jobs, like, maybe you look at your horoscope to decide, like, is the moon in the right?
Is this a good day to approach my boss?
Yes. Like, that seems okay. Maybe you might do that if you're really nervous about it. But 19% of people say they've actually based money decisions on astrology where they have taken on debt for something, which is not great.
People were also asked which zodiac signs are the best and the worst with money. So here you go. Capricorns were rated as the best with money overall. Geminis ranked last. But the actual stats show that the opposite might actually be true on that, too.
Yeah, based on credit scores for each sign. Although personal finance is just that, personal. It depends on person to person.
So Capricorns had the second lowest score. Geminis had the second highest score. Taurus is ranked first overall. Sagittarius ranked last. Wah, wah. So if you're a Sagittarius, apparently you're not real good with your money.
None of those are my signs, so
maybe
I'm somewhere in the middle.
You should be banking at the Horoscope Bank.
Second house is your income. 8th house is investing.
Invest your money at Horoscope Bank.
So the easiest thing you can do is look at the sign in your second house,
where our consultants are fully versed in zodiac financing.
It's a calculation based on the sun, moon, off the ascendant, but essentially it indicates where good fortune and good luck just happens to you.
Horoscope Bank, investing in what might actually, perhaps conceivably within a realm of possibility, provide wealth. That is, if Aquarius moon is rising.
Let's start with some good news. I've got good news and good news.
Tell them the good news.
Good news? Good news.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
Well, the good news is brought to you by Howard Mutual Insurance, online at howardmutual.com.
So back in October, there was a hockey fan and medical student in Seattle by the name of Nadia who went out to go watch a Seattle Kraken game. They were playing the Vancouver Canucks, and she actually ended up saving a guy's life. But it's a bit of a longer story. It's not like she had to do CPR or anything like that. She was actually sitting behind the Canucks bench, and she noticed that on the assistant equipment manager's neck, he had a weird mole. So she typed a message to him on her phone, got his attention, and showed him the message on the glass. And he took her seriously. I think she had typed, like, you have a suspicious mole on your neck. You should go and get that checked out. His name is Brian, and it turned out she was right. And he took her seriously, went and got it checked out. It was melanoma. But because they caught it early, they removed it, and he's going to be okay.
Pretty amazing. So he posted about it on the Canucks Twitter page because they were trying to track down who this was, and they were trying to figure out who she was so he could thank her. Well, now the Canucks and the Kraken are actually giving her a $10,000 scholarship to help pay for medical school, and this is when they had a chance to finally meet.
When you showed me your phone, I also said today I felt terrible because I was kind of like, okay.
I thought you already knew about it.
I didn't.
And I was like, oh no, he didn't want me to bring it up.
So I was like, then the next day I woke up and I said to Jess, like, It was your effort and your persistence and the way you wrote it on your phone. I told Jess, like, I owe it to this person to get checked. Like, if she went this far, I need to get this checked.
Isn't that amazing? So they were able to get it all. Apparently, he's going to be okay.
So, does she want to be a dermatologist, or
maybe now she's got her calling?
Has she just finished her dermatology rotation, and that's why she noticed it?
Right place, right time.
And now it's time for
random
facts.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, if you ever find yourself in space and you're thinking, I'm going to celebrate this moment with a cold one, drinking a beer in space is impossible because it remains foam. The bubbles of carbon dioxide in carbonated beverages aren't buoyant in a weightless environment. So it'd be just like if you're pouring a beer and you get, all that foam on top, it would stay that way.
But it never goes away.
Never goes away.
Oh, that sucks. Hey, do you know that Sting, the singer, doesn't actually own the rights to the name Sting? The registered owner with the U.S. Patent Office is actually a pro wrestler called Sting. Now, he lets the other Sting use the name, though.
I wondered if he paid for that.
I wonder if they have a deal where it's like every year, as long as you pay me this much, you can use the name and I'm not going to bug you about it.
Of course, All I Want for Christmas Is You. Everybody starts hearing that, in mid-November, I guess, and through the end of December. Mariah recorded that in August of 1994, so they brought Christmas trees into the studio to make it feel like Christmas, even though it was summer. And I remember the same thing with Bing Crosby in that story with White Christmas. He couldn't get into it. He couldn't get into recording the song, so somebody went back to their house, grabbed their Christmas decorations out of the basement, and decorated up the studio so that he could perform the song.
Yeah, I guess that would probably help. Maybe turn the air conditioning up, make it a little chillier in there. And finally, that famous painting of dogs playing poker? I mean, we make fun of it as being the epitome of bad art, but it's actually called A Friend in Need. It was painted by a guy named Cash Coolidge, and he also created those big cardboard cutouts that you stick your head through in tourist spots.
So, you think about pop culture, he's created a few iconic things from the dogs playing poker to those things, too. There's your 4 random facts.
This has been today's edition of
1, 2, 3, 4. Random facts. It's Dave and Cheryl, and this is just such a fantastic story. All about a teen who wanted to help his younger sister be able to communicate.
His name is Archer Calder. He's 17 years old. And he so far had spent his entire life unable to talk with his sister Della. She's 14 now, but she's his only sibling. And they couldn't communicate because she has Bainbridge-Roper syndrome, I believe is what it's called. Pretty much what it is a rare genetic condition which affects her ability to eat, move, and speak. So she grew up by using a combination of hand signals and short sounds to communicate with her family and caregivers about what she wanted. But of course, that means she was limited to what she could communicate. So then later on in life, she started using some of the alternative communication applications, AACs is what they're called. They're designed to help people who have trouble with speech or language skills, with like an iPad and different devices where they can look at them and it plays it.
The only thing with that is, though, those are really, really expensive.
They're expensive, and the family was disappointed with the results. And I mean, you don't like how one works, so then you try another, but then you got to buy the technology, you got to buy the software, you got to buy the special device that it runs on. And Archer saw all this, and he was just like, this is stupid. I can code. Apparently, he's really good at coding and decided he was going to use that to develop a web-based application, which he calls Free Speech.
So the site can be accessed from any device. Phones, tablets, computers with internet access. It's a simple website that lets users program buttons with images of their choice to represent words. And then when clicked, the word is sounded out.
In the past, when we had to run errands, we just took her. She was never really consulted. And I mean, now today, outings start with us just asking, hey, you want to go do this? You want to go do that?
Whenever I first made the application, I spent like an hour or two coding the tile pad for her and making sure it has all of her favorite buttons and stuff. I remember, like, I gave it to her, I put it on her iPad, and she opened it up and said, like, you know, one or two things and then closed it out and watched what she was watching. Like, all of this had amounted to this small interaction, but it was a big deal for me. Seeing her communicate with my application. I want everyone to have a moment like that with their nonverbal sibling or friend.
So here's the thing Archer did too. He made his website free for anyone to use, hosted it on GitHub, which is a code hosting program, and that's a platform for open source software. So other web coders were able to contribute ideas to make this even better.
Yeah, sort of pitch different features and then code them for him and sort of put it all together. And the one thing I love about this is because, you know, we were talking about those other applications. Free speech, the buttons are you can edit them and change them depending on the person, and they're easy to move in and out. So it's still a work in progress, but he's currently working on plans because he wants to make it available to use without internet connection, because he says that can be a bit of a drawback if you're in a spot with bad internet.
And I love that he went to social media, posted it on TikTok, thought, maybe I'll just get a few hundred people that'll look at this. It went viral, millions of people, and that just spread his message even further.
Yeah, he said he started to feel a bit like an imposter because, you know, he only did some of the work, but he's also happy because it has connected him with other coders out there who have been able to contribute and add to it and help him with maybe things. Because, I mean, he's only 17. He's still learning how to code. But he said the response has been so overwhelming. And the most emotional part is when he's heard from other families and teens like himself who now are able to communicate with their siblings who are in the same kind of a situation.
How amazing, too, that, again, he's making it free and doesn't plan to charge for it at all when he could have. He probably could have made a ton of money, paid for his entire college or university, but no, he wanted people around the world to be able to have access to this program and to this software. He's 17. Wow, give that some thought, right? Pretty amazing young man. No, you can't go to the theaters right now at the moment, at least over the next few weeks. But over the next few months, there's going to be a number of movies that are going to be released now, whether that's into theaters or theaters for a short run and then onto streaming services. There's some big ones coming out this year.
The first one is January 14th. Scream is coming out. Yes, the 5th installment. And Nev Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette are all back for this one.
On February 11th, you've got a movie called Marry Me. Do you remember rom-coms?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
coming back. Jennifer Lopez playing a pop star in this one.
Actually, this one looks really cute. Also coming out on March the 4th is the new Batman with Robert Pattinson inheriting the cape.
April 22nd, one called The Northman. Alexander Skarsgård is a 10th century Viking prince forced to avenge the death of his father, played by Ethan Hawke.
Interesting. Also out on the 22nd of April, Disappointment Boulevard. It's a nightmare comedy starring Joaquin Phoenix and Nathan Lane.
That's an interesting combination. On May the 6th, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. This sequel sees Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange team up with Elizabeth Olsen's Scarlet Witch.
After numerous and multiple delays, Top Gun Maverick is set to come out on May 27th with Tom Cruise returning as a fighter pilot Maverick 36 years later.
And then you've got another one with Tom Cruise, September 30th, Mission Impossible 7, as Tom Cruise is again leaping across Italy, Norway, and the Swiss Alps. And he'll have a number of stars from the other ones coming back, including Ving Rhames.
On October 7th, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2 is set to come out. It'll focus on his budding relationship with Gwen Stacy, a.k.a. Spider-Woman, which will be voiced by Haley Steinfeld.
November 23rd, you've got The Fabelman, Seth Rogen playing a fun uncle in this coming-of-age movie based on Steven Spielberg's childhood years in Arizona. Interesting.
And on December 25th, Christmas next year, Babylon. This is actually set in 1920s Hollywood as the film industry transitions from silent films to talkies. An all-star cast led by Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, Olivia Wilde, and Tobey Maguire.
I've been reading that this is the one. Mark it down on your list if you're looking for a movie to watch that will probably be in the running for Best Picture of the Year.
You've been listening to Dave and Cheryl's Favorite Moments of the Week.